Okay, so here we have a early 90s, I think it's 91 or 92. The U brake is what dates it on the rear, as you can tell from that. So I think it is an early 90s GT Outpost, in a little bit of neglected condition. The shifting is all gummed up, needs a cable replaced and a few other bits. Just a general free, and the bottom bracket's got a bit of play in it. So yeah, not really a massive restoration or anything, but just getting this lovely old bike back on the road. It's got the Suntour and Diacomp bits on it. So Suntour front and rear mech, Diacomp brake levers. And like you can see there, it's got all the original GT bar and the GT twin bolt stem on there. Yeah, just keeping this one totally original, because it is very original. This, even that rubber bit is still on the on top of the headset there, which is always missing. As you can see, it just generally needs a bit of love and a bit of a tidy up. That dork disc is definitely a bit crispy. There's your Suntour components, Suntour front and rear mech, and then a Sakai front chain set, and then these Suntour Express shifters, which worked really well actually once I freed them up. Initially they were all gunked up and a bit stuck, but as you'll see going on, this bike wants to live, and it comes back to life really quickly and really easily. The tyres, I think, are the original front and rear specific Onza tyres that this bike would have had. Yeah, Onza, bit of a blast from the past, but yeah, they're in good condition. They're still quite supple, no real cracks or anything on them. You know, and the tread is good. So this bike, I don't think it's done a lot. I just think it's been sat around and suffered for it. You know, got a bit gunked up and a bit neglected. So yeah, first job was to give it a bit of a wash. Nice black paint, but black bikes always come up really nice with a good clean. I took that dork disc off, which as you can see is proper crusty, crumbled in my hand, and gave the bike a wash. I won't bore you with too much of this, because you have seen me wash dozens of bikes if you've watched this channel before. So yeah, just a few seconds of me just generally washing down the bike, getting rid of the worst of the bird mess and other rubbish that was on there. But yeah, even with a light wash, it started to come up really nicely. I was really pleased. A little bit of a scrub the bottom bracket area where all the gunk accumulates over the years. Lots of dried lube and oil and stuff down in there and in the chain set. But yeah, coming up really nice, giving the cassette a bit of a wipe down. And as I say, you've seen me do this many times, so try and keep this short. This is way longer than I thought it was, to be honest. Anyway, bike cleaning up really well. And then you can see here, gave it a bit of a foam up with some good quality bike cleaner just to get the shine back in the paint, and it was ready to go back in the work stand to fix a few problems. So here it is in the work stand, looking much nicer for a wash. First wash is probably had in 35 years, this bike. Looking a lot better for it. I need to find a saddle for it as well, something that's suitably sort of the right era. But the first job was these shifters, so flushed them out with some brake cleaner to free them up, and they came back really quickly actually. The brake cleaner ate away at whatever dried grease was inside there, and yeah, they started moving really quickly. As you can see there, see the levers moving, one click per press, which is what you want. The other side is friction, and was a little bit sticky, but with a bit of work in it came nice and free. So friction shifting for the front mech, and then indexed on the rear with these Suntour Express shifters. Next job was the bottom bracket, which I could feel had a bit of play in it. If you rocked the crank arms, you could feel the play in the bottom bracket, but I could see it was going to adjust straight out because the bottom bracket was spinning super smooth. There was no need to take it all apart and do anything dramatic with this. So I just took the cranks off to make the necessary adjustments to the bottom bracket, just to get rid of that play. So these came off relatively easily. Sometimes this can be an absolute nightmare. It's important to get this tool in nicely in the threads, otherwise you can risk stripping out these crank arms, which is an absolute nightmare. Then you end up with the angle grinder out to try and cut them off. I've disappeared now to go and get the hammer just to give this a bit of persuasion. We're back with the toffee hammer just to knock that around, and then the crank arm comes off fairly easily after that. As I say, all I wanted to do was a quarter of a turn on this bottom bracket just to adjust out that bit of play. I don't have the proper tool for the lock ring, but these work really well if you're as long as you're careful. They do no damage at all as long as you're careful. So yeah, then just tightening up the bottom bracket with this little adjustable tool. Two little pins that go in the holes. Once you've undone the lock ring, you can then turn it and tighten it just to take out the play, and then you retighten the lock ring to secure it in place. And it literally needed a quarter of a turn. As I say, it was a super smooth bottom bracket. I knew there wasn't much wrong. So yeah, quarter of a turn on that, and then retighten the lock ring. So yeah, just using these again to retighten the lock ring. As I say, the proper tool is the best way to do it. It's like a notched tool that fits in the little notches of the lock ring, but this does the job as long as you're careful. Yeah, and then the play was removed, so the crank arm goes back on. Put this Ritchie Vector saddle on there, which I thought was reasonably era correct. It's not in fantastic condition, but it's clean and tidy. This is not a restoration. This is just a kind of a quick refurb of this bike to make it rideable again. Then took off the reflectors and changed this this brake cable, which was frayed. In the triangle here at the back, the triple triangle of this frame, popped a nice new one on, cut that and capped it, and that was actually the only cable on this bike that needed replacing. Everything else was pretty good. All the straddle cables were good. I struggled here, as you can see, to get this cap on. There's those reflectors that I removed. But yeah, this was the only cable that actually needed replacing on the whole bike. I did pull the cables from the outers off camera and just squirt a bit of lube down the outers. But the outers were all in fantastic condition, and the cables felt really good. So yeah, after that then it was a case of giving the frame some more attention. So it's had a quick wash, but I wanted to give it a bit of a polish. So I've got this scratch removal stuff, which I used on it just to get the worst of the scratches out. Black frames always respond well to a polish. You can see here, just demonstrating this on the top tube. Went over the whole bike and just got rid of the worst of the scratches. I mean, it has some, it has some signs of age on it. It's a 30-odd-year-old bike, and it should, it's a bike that I wanted to just get recommissioned to be ridden again. It's not going to be, it's not some fancy rare model that's going to be hung on a wall somewhere. It's a bike that's got a lot of life left in it and can be a lot of fun to ride just as it is. And like I say, I've left this one totally standard to do a video hopefully in the future on riding a standard 90s mountain bike in 2025 and what that experience is like. So I'm going to use that bike for the video. And here it is, as you can see, looking a lot better than when we started. Nice shiny paint. As I say, a few marks and scratches, but a bike of this age should tell a story. The Ritchie saddle, I think, really suits it overall. That huge upright stem is completely standard for the bike and is what should be on there. So yeah, this one is a bit of a, not restoration, but a bit of a put back to standard and make it rideable. And it really is a very rideable bike now. There's that triple triangle on the rear with the cut through with the GT logo. Another one done.